riskiest period for wildfires. A general strike in Bangladesh is paralysing much of the country. Authorities raided the headquarters of the opposition party in the capital Dhaka on Monday. In other parts of the country, police fired tear gas and arrested protesters. Opposition politicians called for the action in protest over rising prices. They're also demanding early elections. Police in Haiti's capital have opened fire to disperse protesters. They're calling on President René Préval to leave office immediately. Hundreds set up burning barricades in the streets and threw stones at police. They responded by firing warning shots into the air. Préval's term expired on Monday, but Parliament's given him an extension because a new president has not yet been elected following a disputed first round of voting. Round 2 is to take place on March the 20th. 3 teenage boys have been killed in the Mexican city of Ciudad Juarez. Authorities say 2 of them attended school across the border in Texas. The boys were shot to death at a car dealership. It's not clear yet if any of the 3 were U.S. citizens. Ciudad Juarez saw more than 3,000 murders last year, according to Mexican officials. A fire swept through several warehouses in Rio de Janeiro, destroying costumes and floats that were to be used in the city's upcoming carnival. Fire crews battled for 4 hours to control the blaze. Some warehouses lost 90% of their stock. Gabriel Elizondo reports from Sao Paulo.
As the building that houses Rio de Janeiro's carnival complex went up in flames, so too did the plans for the city's world-famous carnival parade. The billows of smoke rose from the Cidade do Samba, or Samba City as it's called. It's the huge warehouse building and tourist destination where the samba schools that take part in the official carnival parade build their elaborate floats and costumes. Those floats and costumes for 3 of the 12 samba schools were almost totally destroyed. Months of work, not to mention cultural symbols from the famous parade, all destroyed.
We lost everything. It's a huge suffering. This was the work of an entire lifetime that we loved, that we cared about, and to see it like this turned into ashes in a minute.
At the Granja Rio Samba School, more than 3,000 intricate costumes were turned into ash, and overall the damage is estimated to be over $5 million, throwing into chaos plans for this year's celebrations.
It is humanly impossible to make carnival again in a month. This is impossible. All the money in the world won't be able to rebuild what Grande Rio has made.
But Rio's mayor says the carnival will go on, but it won't be easy, especially for the 3 samba schools that were putting the final touches on the floats, but that now are almost totally destroyed.
União de Ilha Samba School was fully ready for the carnival. Grande Rio is ready. Portela's preparations were very advanced. Unfortunately, it's going to be difficult to restore the work of a whole year in 30 days. But these schools have the hallmark of Rio's carnival. Lots of passion and lots of people involved. Carnival will go on.
The cause of the fire is not yet clear, but what is apparent is that next month's carnival in Rio won't quite be the same. At least not this year. Gabriel Elizondo, Al Jazeera, São Paulo.
This is Al Jazeera, and here are the stories making headlines. In Egypt, there have been calls for another mass protest on Tuesday. This, as a leading activist was released from custody. He says he was behind the Facebook page that played a major role in the uprising. A separatist leader says he ordered the suicide bombing that killed 36 people at Russia's busiest airport last month. In a video posted on an Islamist website, Doku Umarov describes the attack on Moscow's Domodedovo airport as a, quote, special operation directed against the Russian people and Prime Minister Vladimir Putin. He added there'll be more attacks in pursuit of an independent Muslim state in Russia's Caucasus region. Southern Sudan's voted overwhelmingly to break away from the north. Official results confirm that more than 98% of voters backed secession, but Africa's newest nation will not be created until July. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has been in court in the UK to fight extradition to Sweden over claims of sexual assault. His defense lawyer says he could face the death penalty if Assange is sent to the US on separate charges relating to the whistleblowing website. France's foreign minister is facing calls to resign after taking a holiday in Tunisia in late December during the country's uprising. Michelle Alliot-Marie has said she regrets taking the holiday in December, and she's also admitted to using a Tunisian businessman's private jet several times during her stay there. But she's refusing to stand down. The Cambodian government says heavy shelling by the Thai army has caused part of an 11th century temple to collapse. Fighting over the past 4 days has forced thousands of Thai villagers to flee the disputed border region. Hundreds of Cambodians have also been evacuated from the region. Both countries lay claim to the area surrounding the temple. A general strike in Bangladesh is paralysing much of the country. Authorities raided the headquarters of the opposition party in the capital Dhaka on Monday. In other parts of the country, police fired tear gas and arrested protesters. And health officials in Sri Lanka are warning of possible outbreaks of disease in areas badly hit by floods. Heavy monsoon rains have affected more than 1 million people in the north and east of the island. The news continues here on Al Jazeera after Empire. Do stay with us.
A desperate act became a rallying cause.
And I'm here to fight for my freedom and for my country.
Social networks pursuing social justice, organizing countrywide demonstrations, igniting national uprisings, triggering revolutions. As the Egyptian regime implodes,
I will die on Egyptian soil.
we ask, who and what's next in the Arab world? This is Empire. Hello and welcome to Empire. I am Marwan Bishara. The Arabs' time have finally come. The lie has been exposed. Change is within reach. Forced to choose between despotic regimes and foreign interventions, between oppressive stagnation and the threat of religious tyranny, the Arabs in Tunisia, Egypt, and elsewhere have chosen freedom. Freedom of expression, freedom from want, freedom from false choices. Never has personal and national dignity been so intertwined, so mutually reinforcing, so inspiring. Never has a national transformation come so suddenly, the stakes been so high, people so daring. Across the Arab world, the message on the street is loud and clear. People want their long-standing autocratic governments to go, now. From Tunisia, to Algeria, to Jordan, Yemen, and Egypt.
I have asked the government to resign, and I will appoint a new one starting tomorrow.
The trigger for all this? One man, Mohammed Bouazizi, a jobless university graduate. He set himself on fire to protest conditions that many Arab youth find themselves in. Unemployment, poverty, lack of opportunity. And where Bouazizi left off, social media and satellite television picked up.
A very large segment of the population is under the age of 25. These are people who are often unemployed, have very limited prospects for good jobs and a good life, are politically also, in a sense, castrated because of the authoritarian practices of the regime.
The 1980s saw a wave of popular unrest reshape the world. The Iron Curtain was torn down, and one by one, the dominoes of Eastern Europe fell. In Latin America, autocratic strongmen were swept away by democratic forces, but not in the Arab world, where dictators have been around for decades. The strongmen have ruled using Israel as a pretext, rallying national sentiment to gain legitimacy, and then invoking emergency powers to counter the threat of the Zionist aggression. But why do autocrats proliferate in the Arab world?
There's an argument that Islam is antithetical to democracy and democratic practices and institutions. There's another theory that says that oil wealth prevents democracy from emerging because the state is much too powerful and much too wealthy to make any concessions to the people.
The West says it supports regime change as a result of popular uprising, and yet backs dictators who do their bidding. But in the Arab world, there is another paradigm.
There's the fear